So the one that I think has the most likely pathway to become an all-star is Coby White. And not to say that, again, that Coby is likely to be an all-star, but I do think when you look at the path that he has to get there, there is something that you can make a case for. As a scorer, it becomes a little bit easier to make the all-star team, and I think that's the route that Coby would have to do to get there to be an all-star in this year. When you look at some players that were all-stars last year at that guard position, for example, right? Dame Lillard, 24.9 points per game. Kyrie Irving, 24.7 points per game. On top of that, Jalen Brunson, 26 points per game. Tyler Hero, 24 points per game, basically, when it came down to that for him. Trae Young, 24 points per game. So I think for Coby White to even be in the conversation to be an all-star in the 2025-26 season, which again, it'll be the 2026 All-Stars because the All-Star game happens in February, I think that that's the first thing. Coby White would have to average 24 points per game at a bare minimum since from the beginning of the season. Not these spurts where Coby White gets hot and gets cold, things like that. Coby White would have to be a 25 point per game score from the start of the season, meaning from month one all the way leading into the end of January. That's about where Coby White would have to be. Now, when you look at the start of Coby White's season last year, for example, in the month of October, he averaged 19 points per game. In the month of November, he averaged 18 points per game. In the month of December, he averaged 17 points per game. Then he didn't start getting over to 19 consistently until the end of the season. And then, of course, in March, where he averaged 27 points per game and 22 points per game in the month of April, Coby White would have to start off averaging 25 points per game to get there. Keep in mind, Coby White, for what it's worth, was the 31st leading scorer in the NBA last year, which being top 30 is pretty damn good. But, to be an all-star, you have to be more than that. Now, the players that were primarily scorers that got in there, they got in there in a different way as well, right? Like Coby, the 4.5 assists per game are actually pretty in line with where most players that were scorers and how they got into it, right? So you look at Donovan Mitchell, for example, 5 assists per game, really solid there. As far as that, Tyler Hero, 5.5 assists per game. Jalen Williams as the guard, 5 assists per game, 21 points per game. Jalen Brunson, 7 assists per game, right? Him, of course, and Trae Young averaged the most assists at that. Even Kyrie Irving, 4.6 assists. So 25 points, 5 assists at the bare minimum is probably what you're looking at for Coby White to get into that. Now, he also averaged 3.7 rebounds per game. I think as a guard, that's perfectly area for him to do that in. And for Coby, the shooting percentages aren't that far off from most all-stars either. 37% from three-point range last season, that's solid enough. That's going to get you there. The 45% from the field goal percentage, that's solid enough. That's going to get you there if you're averaging 25 points per game. So